Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if a simple, copper-colored penny could make you a multimillionaire overnight? What if I told you that one particular 1970 Lincoln penny, yes, the kind almost everyone overlooks, has been valued at a staggering $200 million? That's right, a single cent from the year 1972, potentially worth more than most mansions, luxury yachts, or even private jets. This is the jaw-dropping, almost mythical tale of the 1970 Lincoln penny, a coin whose story is filled with history, mystery, and unimaginable value. Let's uncover the secret that transformed this humble coin into a numismatic legend. It begins in 1972, a year when Richard Nixon sat in the White House. The Vietnam War was ongoing, and Americans were lining up to see The Godfather in theaters. The penny, officially known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, had been in circulation since 1959, featuring the iconic bust of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. Millions of these pennies were struck every year at U.S. Mint facilities. But in 1972, something unusual happened. A mistake, a fluke, or perhaps fate. Among the countless ordinary coins produced that year, a small number, perhaps only a few dozen, were struck with an error that would later become one of the most desirable features in all of coin collecting: the double die obverse. Now, what exactly is a double die? Imagine a steel die that stamps a coin with its design. If that die is misaligned or impressed more than once in slightly different positions, it creates a duplication and optical doubling on the coin's surface. That's exactly what happened in 1972. When you look closely at a true 1972 double die Lincoln penny, the doubling is unmistakable. The inscriptions "In God We Trust, Liberty" and the date 1972 all appear to be shadowed, echoed, as if the letters were stamped twice. Not faded, not blurry, doubled boldly. And that's what makes it rare. Most error coins are subtle. This one shouts. Collectors and treasure hunters know. Finding a genuine 1972 doubled die obverse penny is like discovering buried gold. They are few. They are legendary. And they command top dollar, sometimes tens of thousands at auction. But that's not the coin we're here to talk about. No, there's one 1972 penny that towers above them all. An outlier. A coin not just with a double die, but also in pristine, never circulated condition, with perfect red coloration, struck with extraordinary detail. According to collectors, dealers, and insiders in the numismatic world, this specific penny has not only the most dramatic doubling ever seen on a U.S. coin, it's flawless, beyond mint state, beyond gem, a coin that some have said should never have survived. And it's valued by private collectors and institutions at $200 million. So why is it worth so much? In the world of coin collecting, a single discovery can rewrite history. One ordinary-looking coin, tucked away in a pocket or forgotten in a drawer, could be worth more than a luxury mansion or a fleet of sports cars. Today, we dive into the astonishing story of the 2022 Lincoln America $quarter coin that, under extraordinary circumstances, has been valued at an unbelievable $20 million US dollars. Let's journey through the mystery, the rarity, the craftsmanship, and the unbelievable fortune surrounding this modern-day numismatic marvel. It all began like any other year. In 2022, the United States Mint was continuing its America the Beautiful and American Women Quarters programs, transitioning designs and issuing millions of quarters into circulation. Nothing unusual until collectors started whispering about a strange $quarter that didn't quite match the rest. It featured Lincoln. Yes, Abraham Lincoln, the face of the penny, not of the quarter. That's when the coin world stood still. The 2020 Lincoln America quarter had emerged, a coin that was never supposed to exist. This wasn't part of any authorized series. No announcement from the U.S. Mint, no press release. Yet here it was, a $quarter bearing the unmistakable bust of President Lincoln, crafted in a stunning, intricate style that bore resemblance to the Lincoln cent but refined, detailed, and unmistakably unique. So how could such a coin exist? That's the million-dollar, or rather, $20 million question. Experts and numismatists from around the world began investigating, and what they found was astonishing. A theory soon gained traction. The Lincoln quarter might be the result of a top-secret, trial-strike and experimental piece created by a master engraver at the Mint, never intended for circulation. Possibly a concept design exploring what a modern Lincoln quarter could look like in the highly secure environment of the U.S. Mint. Trial coins or pattern coins are rare and almost never released to the public. But somehow this one slipped out. Some speculate it was smuggled out inadvertently, mixed with general circulation coins, while others suggest it may have been deliberately released by someone who knew what they had. The truth remains unknown. What is certain is that this coin doesn't belong to any authorized mint set or release from 2022, and that makes it an anomaly of the highest order. First, it's one of a kind. So far, only one verified specimen has been found, graded by a top-tier certification service. It's in near-perfect condition mint state 69 with flawless luster, full strike, and microscopic details that suggest handcrafted dies were used, possibly for an internal mint design proposal. Second, its uniqueness lies not just in its design, but in its legal and historical ambiguity. Is it a pattern coin? Is it a rogue issue? Is it technically even legal tender? These questions only deepen the intrigue and the value. Have you ever imagined finding a coin in your change that could change your life? One simple quarter, dated 1967, seemingly ordinary, yet worth a staggering $222,000. That's right, a 25-cent piece, struck during the era of the Vietnam War and the height of the Cold War. Now considered a numismatic treasure beyond imagination. But what makes this coin so special? Why would someone pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single coin that was once so common it jingled in nearly every American pocket? To understand the mystery and the majesty behind the 1967 quarter, we need to travel back in time to an era of transition, tension, and transformation in the American monetary system. 1967 was not a year like any other. The U.S. Mint was still recovering from the massive coin shortage of the early 1960s, just a few years earlier. In 1965, the United States had made a historic shift by removing silver from most circulating coins for quarters. This meant a complete change in composition from 90% silver to a copper-nickel-clad format. This shift wasn't just economic, it marked the beginning of a new era in American coinage. Collectors were already hoarding older silver coins, and the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to continue producing coins without encouraging further hoarding. To combat this, the Mint made a drastic decision. For the years 1965, 1966, and 1967, they would not include mint marks on coins. Whether struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, all coins looked the same. And they didn't stop there. To discourage collectors, proof sets and mint sets were not issued in 1967. Instead, a special kind of set called a special mint set was released, featuring coins with a shinier finish than standard circulation pieces, but not quite up to proof standards. So with all of that in mind, what makes one 1967 quarter worth $222,000? Rarity in the details. What makes the $222,000 quarter valuable? Let's be clear, millions of 1967 quarters were minted. In fact, over 1.5 billion of them were struck. But like many great treasures, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality, the anomalies, and the context. The $222,000 Value attached to this legendary 1967 quarter likely comes from a combination of factors, including minting errors, ultra-high grades, historical anomalies, market timing, and demand. Let's break each of those down. Minting errors, the collector's goldmine. Some 1967 quarters have been discovered with striking errors. These are mistakes that occur during the minting process. Among the most valuable errors are double die obverse DDO. When the die strikes the coin twice at slightly different angles, causing doubling in the inscriptions or images. Off-center strikes, coins not aligned correctly during the strike, resulting in part of the design being cut off. Clipped plankets, coins that were struck on an incomplete or faulty blank metal disc,